Chapter 6: Harvesting and Alcoholic Fermentation. The grape harvest. Once the grape has fully ripened, we can then proceed to harvest it. It is important to choose this moment carefully and precisely, as a large part of the quality of the wine depends on this. During the ripening process, we can see how the substances have been modifying their sugar and glucose concentrations, reaching a peak or a level that we might deem optimal. It's about getting the appropriate levels of these substances so that the wine that we will make will have the desired characteristics. There are two classic parameters upon which we rely to determine this time: sugar content and acid content. To this we must add, in the case of reds, the content of polyphenolic substances, which are those that provide the color. A. Sugars. We have to try and obtain the appropriate levels of sugar so that this will convert into the grade of alcohol that we want the wine to have. For every 17 grams per liter of sugar, we get about 1 degree of alcohol. For aged red wines, long periods of aging, we are more interested in a high alcohol content, since it helps them to evolve in good conditions for a longer period of time. However, young reds do not need this, as they are for immediate consumption. The alcohol in the wine plays a protective role against the various attacks that can come from different bacteria or yeasts. In short, alcohol is a great antiseptic for wine. B. Acids. The wine's acids must be balanced. Neither too high, which would give a barely drinkable wine, nor too low. Adequate acidity levels give the wine improved color over time and are essential in balancing the amounts of other substances that exist in the wine. The acidity gives the wine longevity. A more acidic wine withstands aging far better. Therefore, acidity is one of the pillars of wine, because it provides its essential structure. In fact, low acidity has to be corrected, because it would dull the wines and lend them no personality whatsoever. It is in white wines where the acidity factor plays a greater role in its structure. In contrast to the continuously increasing sugar levels, acidity levels decrease over time. Thus, if the harvest is late, the grapes are ripe but tend to give medium or even low acidity, thereby lacking the necessary levels to bring balance to the wine. It is important, therefore, to choose the harvesting date in accordance with both the color and aroma of the grapes, the desired sugar to alcohol content, and the correct level of acidity, which must not be too low. In the latter case, we normally have to correct the acidity of the juice upon arrival at the winery. Wine does not start out in the cellar in the manner that people often think. It is vital to closely monitor the development of the vine throughout the year, and especially during the months before the harvest. A good wine starts in the vineyard. Alcoholic fermentation. This is the main process by which the must is transformed into wine. It is the transformation of sugar, glucose and fructose, content in the grape into ethyl alcohol and carbon dioxide. Approximately 1 degree of alcohol occurs in 17 grams of sugar, as contained in the must or grape juice. Thus, a must with 221 grams per liter would result in a wine with 13 degrees of alcohol. This process also produces carbon dioxide in a gaseous state, causing the bubbling, boiling, and the aroma of fermenting must in the vat. The formation of carbon is important for the extraction of the substances contained in the skins and for providing a protective environment against the oxidation of the grapes, which, in turn, is beneficial for obtaining quality wines, and especially in the case of red wines. The process is initiated by yeasts that are attached to the grape skins. These, to meet their growing needs, eat the sugar and convert it into alcohol. The process is a result of excess gas and carbon dioxide. These yeasts are Saccharomyces yeasts, which often play the most important part in the process. These are the real wine workers. We know that the fermentation process is over when virtually all of the sugars have been broken down and the bubbling ceases. In the winery, this is determined by a hydrometer, which measures the sugar concentration. It is important to control the fermentation temperature throughout the process without fail. Each wine requires a certain range of temperature. At Maset del Geo, fermentation is controlled by means of radiators or outer casing fitted around the fermentation tanks, which control the temperature so as to ferment the wine continuously. We work in this way because at low temperatures, the wines produced have a higher concentration of aromas. Once fermentation is complete, we then have the new wine, and this occurs when the residual sugars left by primary fermentation have broken down completely. We then complete the wine with a second fermentation, malolactic fermentation. Malolactic fermentation is essential to the quality of wine, especially red wines. It basically consists of converting all or part of the malic acid from grapes into lactic acid and carbon dioxide. It is a natural process of winemaking in which malic acid, a bitter herbal flavor, is converted into lactic acid, which is more pleasant and soft on the palate, and also improves the aroma of the wine. Malolactic fermentation serves to correct the resulting acidity of the fermentation. This is why it is an essential process in obtaining quality wines, and more so in wine-growing regions that produce wines with high acidity.